You knew it was about time for one of these. We've done the past couple of nows. We've done the 10 worst songs, or 10 of the worst songs on those nows, so we're going to do it again with now 54. It's Cinco de Mayo, which means it's now Cinco de Shitto. You have to be shit-faced to enjoy this stuff. But I will say this, now 54 was a bit different. Now 54 feels like there was some decent quality control on here, because some of these songs that they have included are just kind of meh. They're not terrible, so they weren't on this list. And then a couple that I instantly expected would be on the list ended up not being on this list, including Nick Jonas. Jealous? Hell of a pop song. Gotta give him credit. Gotta give credit where credit is due. Don't care what people think. That being said, let's get to the actual list. Let's get to number 10. Number 10 is Alex B with Too Cool, and this one's here based around a technicality. And that technicality is that unless you picked up Now 54, either that or downloaded it off of iTunes, you're not going to hear this song. This is not a song that's available on his personal website. It's not available really anywhere else online, such as YouTube. So basically, this is it. This is your one shot. Now, this is one of those emerging artists' ideas, and this kid is very, very young. He's still in his teens. He's still in school. His profile on his website states that he loves making music, but also loves getting good grades. So it's one of those things where you're not sure what's going to happen. He could easily be discovered. He has the talent. He has the voice. And he has the look. You know, he's already gotten a lot of hits on YouTube for the songs that he does have posted, but it's going to depend on what he wants to do. He seems like he has the potential, but this is on here because of that technicality, because that distribution is pretty poor as far as that's concerned, and Too Cool in general, just as a song, meh. I mean, this is obviously going to cater to his generation. It's going to cater toward the youth, so I'm not going to bash it too hard because they're still young, and it makes sense. But just, it's fiberglass. It's nothing. But whatever. Number 9, we have Flo-Rida featuring Sage the Gemini and Lucas with GDFR. Again, like I was saying in the opening, this now wasn't terrible. And this is a song that's a pretty good example of it. This is not a really, really bad song, but comparative to some of the others, it made the list. It sounds and feels like it's trying to be turned down for what light. You know, if you remember last year, Turned Down for What was a song that was on a Now that we talked about. I think it was Now 50 or 49. And it was really low on the list because in spite of it being irritating, it was also kind of an enjoyable track. This one is... It's irritating and it's not as enjoyable. It's the reason why it's on here. And you know, Flo-Rida is not terrible on this song, and Sage the Gemini has some really unique rhymes, including one about bronchitis, if I remember correctly. And it's just, it has one of those addicting hook introductions that is repeated later on in the track, so it's instantly recognizable. But aside from that, it doesn't have much to offer. Number 8, we have Tori Kelly with Nobody Love. She has a really strong voice, Tori Kelly does, but conceptually this is a song that, it's very musically mundane, and the weakness is in the structure of it. It's one that just does not leave you really remembering too much about it. It feels very plastic, it feels very generated, and it doesn't leave a lasting impression. That's one of the large problems about this. It's funny how somebody can have talent and can have some lyricism that's, you know, really kind of passable, but not necessarily extraordinary, but just be really bogged down by the musical idea that's behind it. That's something that can plague a lot of pop artists, and I feel that this is a song that a lot of people will latch on to, but I don't feel that it's going to be one that you're going to hear everyone speak and yell and love and post lyrics to. I don't think that this song has that kind of appeal. I don't think that it has that kind of lasting power. However, I still have to give credit where credit is due whenever it comes to her voice, which is very solid. Number 7, we have Sam Hunt with Take Your Time. This has a really, really great concept to it. A really interesting idea to it. Kind of speaking the scene a little bit and then offering a line, and then speaking a little bit more, offering a line. Very reminiscent of the old story songs of old from country artists, but the thing of it is that there's a high level of just generic nature to this, a high level of typicality to this song that really destroys it. Nothing about this story really makes you feel as though things will not go Sam Hunt's way. Nothing about this story makes you feel like he's nothing more than just a little bit nervous to speak to this girl, and that's all the more that it is. He just wants to take a little bit of her time. He doesn't want to ruin her Friday. How fucking nice is Sam Hunt? Well, here's what it is. It's good guy Sam Hunt wants to talk to some girl that he thinks is hot and thinks that maybe they could have a little romance or something like that. Now, where have we heard that before? We've heard that in so many country songs, especially within this new wave. It's a typical topic. So it just loses a lot of its value based around the fact that it's so typical, based around the fact that it's just another one of these tracks to have country music females listen to them and just dream about Sam Hunt or some country boy like him to be theirs. It's really bad, and this had a lot of potential. I really liked the conceptual idea. It's just the execution. Oh, Sammy boy, I'm so sorry, but the execution was just really expected. And you really want to deliver the unexpected to impress me. Number 6, we have Neo and Pitbull with Time of Our Lives. I was thinking I was going to omit a Pitbull song, but he has just a part in this with Neo, and Neo kind of saves this from being a little bit worse. It's kind of just a song that does not feel like it has that same oomph. It's just not really all of that good, and it's kind of mired around a lot of songs that are like it, a lot of songs that are trying to describe having a good time, having a lasting good time, something that's going to be extremely important and something that will last forever in your minds, you know, something that will be a memory forever. And there's just so many songs that speak about this nature, especially within the pop department. This is something that just is a catalyst for really generic lyricism. It's a catalyst for very lazy songwriting, and it's almost like you can take this idea and put a beat behind it, and you can have just about anybody do this song, and it would sound conceptually very similar, and probably would be equally as boring. This is just a track that has nothing really to offer. It's just kind of blank, and it's not a good thing. Number 5, we have Kelly Clarkson with Heartbeat Song. Kelly Clarkson has saved the world again by having a new album. No, she fucking hasn't, because this track is a snooze fest. Oh my goodness, this reminds me of the Hillary Duff song from a couple of nows ago, where she wrote a song and tried to be a Disney kid, and it's not something that works because she's older now. With Kelly Clarkson, this is a track that sounds like she's trying to channel a little bit of her youth, and it just doesn't feel very genuine. It doesn't have very much of that oomph to it. This is something that Kelly Clarkson fans are going to enjoy because it's new Kelly Clarkson, and how much fucking deviation does Kelly Clarkson have? About none. But it's not going to be one that's going to usher in the next wave of Kelly Clarkson fans, and that's sort of the problem. Whenever you have a lead single like this that's not going to usher in more individuals, then you have a problem. Not to mention, just conceptually speaking, the song feels very lazily written as well, similar to the Neo and the Pitbull song. I feel like just about anybody that is similar to Kelly Clarkson could tackle this song and just as easily have pulled it off. It's not one that feels genuine or unique based around her voice, and that seems to be a problem we're having a lot with these songs, where they're not absolutely god-awful so far. However, they're ones where just about any voice could tackle them and do them okay, but none of them could really do it magnificently. Number 4, we have Taylor Swift with Blank Page. A lot of you were probably expecting this to be number 1, but as my review of 1989 suggested, I actually didn't mind the album. The album was not terrible. It was one where Taylor fits as a pop star as opposed to a country star here in 2014 or 2015, since the calendar has indeed turned. However, the thing about Blank Page is that it's something that gets exceptionally old whenever you have little snippets of your liner notes pop up as lyrics in the song, and you can pinpoint what they are. And then it's so stupid, but the stupid little that she does before she says she's going to write your name is just, you don't need to vocalize that. I get it. It's a cutesy little aspect. It's a cutesy little thing that helps give the song a little bit of pop and flavor too, because fuck it, I'm inventing words. But it's not something that's really required. It's a neat little adage, but it's also something that really seems geared a lot more toward the teens. It's something that really showcases that Taylor hasn't really matured all of that much, and it's not one where she's matured all that much as a songwriter with the song. song either. There are other tracks off in 1989 that exhibit this a whole heck of a lot better, that shows that she's gotten some dynamisty, and she's gotten actually a little bit of a fire underneath of her, and she's getting a little edgy too, but this is a track that doesn't show it. This is typical Taylor, and typical Taylor is a typical problem. Fuck it, let's move on. Number 3, Walk the Moon with Shut Up and Dance. We tackled this with Now 53, but now they have graduated from incoming artist or new artist to the main roster here, and this song still is irritating. In fact, I'm hearing this song less, which means it's annoying me more. This is one of those anthems that's really being geared to get everybody dancing. This is one that's supposed to be played at all of the high school, dances and parties and all that stuff. It's supposed to really generate a ton of fans and all this other garbage, but I don't see it. I don't see what's so special about these guys. There's nothing that's all of that special about these guys. Once again, like many of the other tracks we're talking about, very generic, something that could easily be handled by other bands if they decided that they wanted to do this. But Walk the Moon decided to take one for the team and actually do it, and this song is just awful. It's wretched. It's one where it has a good enough idea and introduction to it where it makes you think that it's going to be decent, and then it ends up not sounding like a rock song, but it ends up sounding like an anthem that is more fit for a boy band, such as number 2, One Direction with Night Changes. We finally get to talk about One Direction, who now is limping because one of the members, Zayn, has gone. He's gone. Oh no, the tears of anguish. Oh no, the terrible things that have happened. People are going to start cutting themselves or beg that Zayn comes back. Why are you doing this to your fans? Why? Why do you hate us so, Zayn? Why do you hate all the Directioners so fucking much that you're just going to do this and ruin my life and make me consider suicide? Make me want to swallow pills or slice my wrist, either that or jump out in front of a goddamn train or a moving bus. Why would you do this, Zayn? This is the most terrible idea. Why? Think about the children. Think about your fans. Do you care about them at all? Do you? Obviously you don't, because you fucking did this anyway. Zayn, I have a ton of respect for you. You did what you wanted to do. It was something where your family was more important to you, and you wanted to take some time out of the spotlight. I have nothing but respect for that. In fact, bravo. Good for you. The rest of you fans, chill the fuck out and shut the fuck up. It's been like a month. Chill out. Everything will be fine. You'll have a new obsession in less than a week. In fact, you probably already have one. As for the song, fuck it. I don't care. It's on this list for 2 reasons. 1, it's a One Direction song. 2, I wanted to fucking talk about it. So there you have it. There it's at number 2. But number 1... and I can't believe it. I actually never thought that I would have a song like this at number 1. We have Centuries by Fall Out Boy. This is a song that's irritating on multiple levels. First of all, I've never really been on board with Fall Out Boy, but I've enjoyed some of their songs individually. This is a track that just does not feel enjoyable at all. First off, they sampled Tom's Diner, which is an old song from, I believe, the early 90s, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to recall in place who even sung the track. But then it just lashes into this track that feels generic. It feels generic for all of these bands that are now entering into perhaps their second decade of being around. Either that or they're getting close to the 10-year mark. We're talking the Panic at the Discos, the My Chemical Romances of the world. Only Fall Out Boy, instead of kind of drifting around their typical style, has kind of morphed their style to also embody a little bit more pop, something that they've done a little bit in the past, but now it's really becoming very apparent now that they're relevant once again. It's just a really, really bad song. There's nothing that has any sort of value on this at all. It's a catchy tune. Who gives a fuck? There's plenty of catchy tunes out there, and it just feels listless. It feels like it's just a wasted particle of 3 minutes of space, and that's all that there really is to it. There you have it. Now 54 is now down. 10 of the worst songs have now been cataloged. If you're wondering some of the others that were not talked about, surprisingly enough, there are a couple that were probably very surprising. Maroon 5's Sugar was not on here because that was actually a really, really well done song. Nick Jonas, again, with Jealous. Hell of a pop song. Did really, really well with that. And there's one other one that I'm trying to think of here. The One Republic song was meh, but it was nothing, it was whatever. And surprisingly enough, the only person from the, they're not big stars yet, list that was on here was the Alex B because of the distribution. These were actually pretty good. Jukebox the Ghost was probably the worst out of all of them. Banks is probably the best. So there you have it. If you guys have any other picks that you thought were worse, put them in the comments. Aside from that, man, I hate Now.